Imagine checking into a hospital to get better, but instead, your caregivers decide it's your time to go. This isn't a horror movie. It's the chilling reality of Ward 9. Hey guys, welcome back to Crimson Files. Today, we're diving into the dark history of the Lane's Angels of Death. In the 1980s, Vienna was rocked by a scandal that no one saw coming. It centered around 4 women who were supposed to be healers. Waltraud Wagner was the ringleader, a nursing aide with a terrifying sense of authority. She didn't just want to care for patients, she wanted to control life itself. It all started in 1983, when Wagner claimed she took a patient's life out of pity. But pity quickly turned into something much more sinister. Wagner soon recruited 3 other accomplices, Maria, Irene, and Stefania. Together, they formed a secret pact within the hospital walls. Ward 9 was where the most difficult and elderly patients were kept. To the rest of the world, deaths there were expected. But the frequency of these departures started to raise some eyebrows, even if no one dared to speak up at first. The group developed what they called the water cure, a method so subtle it left almost no evidence for the doctors. They would force patients to consume liquid in a way that seemed natural, but was actually fatal. It was their ultimate power trip. Wagner reportedly enjoyed the feeling of deciding who lived and who died. She became the self-appointed judge of the ward. If a patient was too loud, too demanding, or simply annoying, they were put on the list. The hospital staff was overworked and understaffed, allowing these angels to operate right under everyone's noses. For years, they remained undetected, thinking they were untouchable behind their white uniforms. But every secret has a breaking point, and theirs was their own arrogance. One night in 1989, the group went to a local tavern to celebrate their success. They were feeling bold and reckless. They began to brag loudly about their deeds, laughing about how they had sent another one off. Little did they know, a doctor was sitting at the very next table, listening to every horrifying word. He couldn't believe what he was hearing and immediately reported them to the authorities. The police launched a massive investigation into Ward 9, and what they found shocked the entire nation of Austria. Medical records were seized, and the number of suspicious deaths began to climb into the hundreds. When the 4 women were arrested, the news hit like a lightning bolt. People couldn't grasp that nurses could be so cruel. Waltraud Wagner was cold and defiant during the interrogation, showing no remorse for her actions. She claimed she was performing a service, ending the suffering of those who had no hope. But the evidence suggested otherwise. Many victims were relatively healthy before they crossed paths with the group. The trial was one of the most sensational in Austrian history, with the media calling them the Angels of Death. Witnesses described a culture of fear in the ward, where patients were afraid to speak up. The prosecution argued that this wasn't mercy, it was a quest for power and control over the helpless. The sheer number of victims was staggering, though the exact total may never truly be known. Wagner was eventually convicted of 15 murders and 17 attempts. She received a life sentence. Her accomplices received varying sentences, with Irene also getting life for her involvement. The hospital itself faced massive reforms after the scandal, changing how patients were monitored. But for the families of the victims, the scars would never truly heal. Trust in the system was broken. The story of the Lane's Angels remains a dark stain on medical history, a reminder of what happens when power goes unchecked. In 2008, it was reported that Wagner and her accomplices were released for good behavior, sparking fresh outrage. They were given new identities to start their lives over, far from the ward where they committed their crimes. The case raises haunting questions. How could this go on for 6 years without anyone noticing? Is it possible there are more angels hiding in plain sight in other hospitals around the world? It's a terrifying thought that those who care for us could also be the ones who harm us. Psychologists have studied Wagner for years, trying to understand what drives someone to this level of cruelty. Some call it the God complex, where the perpetrator feels they have the right to decide the fate of others. Others believe it's a reaction to the extreme stress and burnout found in the nursing profession. Whatever the reason, the victims of Ward 9 deserved better than the mercy they were given. We must always remember their names and the tragedy that occurred in that hospital in Vienna. It serves as a grim lesson to always be vigilant and to protect the most vulnerable among us. The Lane's Angels of Death will forever be remembered as some of the most prolific serial killers in history. What do you think about their release from prison? Should they have stayed behind bars forever? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. This story is truly one for the books. If you enjoyed this deep dive into true crime, don't forget to like and subscribe to Crimson Files. Stay curious, stay aware, and as always, stay safe. See you in the next one.